I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Canon R50 or 60D?
60D.
Why?
Because it's done some great photos for me. With the 50 milliliter lens.
Cameras are so expensive these days, and there's just so many of them that it's easy to get lost in it all. I mean, DSLR or mirrorless, Sony or Canon. So much technical jargon, and all you're just trying to do is take holiday pictures. Let me let you in on a little secret. Come closer. For the most part, it's pretty much all the same, and I'm gonna prove it to you. Today we got the Canon 60D, and as of this year, it's 16 years old, and we're going to have it compete with the Canon R50, a mirrorless camera, which came out in 2023. We aren't going to talk about too many specs, but there are some important things you need to be aware of, and today we're going to be talking mainly about frames per second, so FPS, your ISO range, your AF, which is your autofocus, one of my personal favorite concepts when it comes to photography. All of these tie into photo capability, and then we're also going to talk about the video capability. Okay, to start us off, let's talk about FPS. So on the Canon 60D, you are looking at about 5.3 frames per second, and on the Canon R50, you are looking at 15 frames per second. Frames per second just essentially means how many stills, I guess, how many pictures, I guess, it can take in a second. The more stills you have, the more likely you are to actually capture the specific moment you're looking for. So having a high FPS is something that you'd really be looking into if you are looking to shoot sports or anything involving motions. Moving on, let's talk about the ISO range. Now, when we're talking about ISO, on the Canon 60D, you're looking at 100 to 6400, which is expandable to 12400, just like on the Canon 60D. On the Canon R50, you're looking at 100 all the way up to 32,000. Expandable up to, I think, 52,000. You can see the major difference. And where ISO mainly comes into play is when you are dealing with low light situations. So obviously 32,000 is way higher than 6,400. So of course the R50 would perform way better in low light situations. Lastly, for talking about autofocus, basically self-explanatory, pretty much your camera's ability to focus on the subject at hand and pretty much blur out the rest. When it comes to the Canon 60D, it has a cross type system and it only has 9 points of autofocus, meaning, as you guys can see, there are 9 points over here. You can select all of them, but the problem is because it's such an old model, it can sometimes pick the wrong thing to focus on. So it's advisable to use one. But even then, if you don't get that dot on your subject, you're really going to struggle to get your subject in focus. Whereas on the R50, you are looking at 4,503 points of focus. And it uses Canon's famous dual system autofocus Mark II system, which is used pretty much in today's, I'm talking about the latest cameras, so you can imagine it's pretty good. So I've been speaking a lot, but how do these things actually transfer into a picture? Right now, we're gonna use everything together and I'm gonna show you a picture from my R50 and the 60D. I'm not gonna tell you which one is which. I'm gonna let you guys decide that in the comments. Pretty similar, right? This is what I was getting at. However, now let's get into the video capability, and I won't lie here, there's nothing I can say. On the 60D, unfortunately, you are capped at HD, so you're capped at 1080p at 30 frames per second. You can downgrade that to 720p at 60 frames per second if you want a bit more slow-mo, but that's all you get, no 4K. Whereas on the R50, you do get 4K at 30 frames per second, of course, decently. And you can bump it down to 1080p at a whopping 120 frames per second for that super smooth slow-mo. As you guys can see, the video is not even close. The R50's video is a lot more crisp, it's a lot more detailed, and that autofocus system seriously comes into play. On the Canon 60D, it's really not sharp at all. It's slow, it's buggy, it's dark because you don't have ISO to help bump it up. So yeah, if that's what you're gonna use it for, you're better off looking somewhere else. Okay, but it's not all just about, the photo or the video. It's also about ergonomics. So when it comes to ergonomics, the Canon 60D comes in at about 755 grams, whereas the R50 is only about 375 grams. Borderline half, right? So that pays homage to obviously how it fits. So the Canon 60D is a lot bulkier. For me personally, it is easier to grip. So I got big hands, so it is easier for me to grip. compared to something like an R50. But if you have someone with smaller hands, you may like that. Battery life, because the 60D is bigger, it accommodates a bigger battery compared to the R50. And my personal use has lasted me days on end without me needing to charge. And I'm shooting half days, full days. So as you guys can see, it can compete, but sadly only in photos. Video has progressed so much over the years, and just that autofocus system puts it miles and miles behind the rest of the competitors. And now that begs the question, if old hardware can still compete in today's day and age, then what about the device sitting in your pocket right now? With how advanced smartphones are nowadays, do you even need a camera? We're going to do a comparison soon. Stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much all from my side. Guys, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. And that's pretty much it. So, it's been your boy Cat. Love.